Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the new DC Icon 6-inch scale Super Sons Robin and Superboy 2-pack from DC Collectibles. Now this set comes packaged in a window box with the figures clearly displayed along with the accessories. You've got the white box with red highlights. Off to the side you've got the Super Sons name, and it tells us these figures are 26 in the series. On the other side of the packaging, it tells us these figures are based on the storyline called In the Name of the Father. And then on the back of the packaging, we have a look at the entire wave that is hitting comic and specialty shops now. So Nightwing and Supergirl. I'll be reviewing Nightwing probably tomorrow and Supergirl early next week. Now for all intents and purposes, this is basically the final wave of icons, as DC Collectibles will be switching to their new Essentials line sometime next year. Now we do still have the diorama set with the Death of Superman that's coming, and then they are also re-releasing the Rebirth Batman and Superman figures in single packaging. Now those will be the exact same figures that we got in the box set earlier this year. Those will not have any additional accessories. And then down below, finally, it tells us that these two figures were sculpted by Paul Harding. All right, let's get these open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figures outside the packaging along with the other contents. Okay, so for accessories, each figure comes with multiple pairs of hands. Superboy comes with 4 different pairs of hands, and Robin comes with 5 different pairs of hands. And they're all basically the same hands between the two. Robin has the green gloves and Superboy has no gloves at all. And then Robin also gets this extra pair of hands with batarangs that are sculpted inside in between the fingers. So you get this one where they're like kind of sticking out between the fingers as knives, and then this one where he has them more in a kind of a getting ready to throw position. And then otherwise you get a pair of closed-fisted hands for each figure, a pair of grip hands, a pair of open hands, and these are better with the Superboy figure for flight poses, and then just a pair of not grip but open hands in a semi-grip position. And switching out the hands is easy. You just pull off the hand you want to replace. You've got the little peg on the hand and the hole on the arm, and then you just plug in the hand that you want to replace it with, and you just pop it in right there. And it should be noted, in case you wanted to give, say, like Robin some non-gloved hands, you can actually stick the Superboy hands on Robin and they work pretty well. Now I don't know why you would stick green hands on the Superboy figure, but technically you could if you wanted to. And then besides the hands, Robin comes with a staff, and this is done with just a gray, almost metallic type plastic. And it comes out of the packaging pretty straight, at least mine did. And then as long as you have like the grip hands on, you can get him to hold it in either hand or do double-handed poses and such. But he does hold the staff nice and tight. And then finally you get this flight stand, which is primarily used for Superboy, though you can technically put Robin on here if you wanted to, I guess for jumping poses and such. And it's just a clear plastic stand. You get 1 peg. Now both of the figures, both Robin and Superboy, only have pegs on their right feet. They don't have pegs on their left, so you can only use this with the right feet. And you just basically plug it in so it looks like, you know, he's jumping up, getting ready to jump up in the air to take flight or something along those lines. Okay, so for the figures themselves, starting with the Robin figure, I think this is probably one of the nicest versions of Robin we've gotten for the Damian Wayne character. I really like the sculpting detail on the suit. You've got some line work here, and then you've got the R, and it's actually sculpted, and some really solid paint applications there as well. No sloppiness. I like how the cape looks. He's got the hood, but it's pulled down, and his hair is kind of like blowing back. So I like that detailing, and it's a solid black color for the hair. And he's got the green mask, which is sculpted, not just painted. And then you've got some black outlines around the eye, and then white for the rest of the eye. And he's got kind of a Damian Wayne type smirk, which I think actually looks pretty good. And then he's got this belt, which is a separate piece, but I like how the pouches are sculpted on it. And he's got the lower part of the shirt that hangs down below the belt, and that's done with a rubber type material. And then he's got the green gloves with gauntlets, and the gauntlet pieces are done with a rubber type material, so they do bend a little bit, so just be careful when you're handling those. And he's just got the black pants with the green knee pads and the green boots with the red laces. And on the back of the cape, you've got black with some yellow outline, and then the underside of the cape is yellow. And I think it hangs well on the figure and looks pretty good. And the cape is done with just that rubber type material. For the Superboy figure, I think they've done a pretty good job here as well. Now, honestly, I'm not as fond of this look for Superboy, so that may be why I don't like it quite as much as the Robin figure. Also, the facial expression, the best way I can describe it is he has kind of a dopey look on his face, and maybe that is in keeping with how the character appears in the comics. I'm not terribly familiar with this version, the Rebirth version of Superboy, so I can't really say how he looks in the comics, but to me it just comes off looking a little bit dopey. Overall though, I think the sculpting is good. I like the way the hair looks. You've got that solid black color again for the hair. He's got blue eyes and good skin tone. Then he's got this jacket that he's wearing with the S symbol, and the S symbol is actually sculpted, so nice detailing there, and pretty solid paint applications overall. You've got good skin tone again down here with the hands and everything. And then he's wearing these blue jeans that are ripped. You've got a little rip up here and then a big rip on his knee. And then he's wearing the high top red tennis shoes with the red laces, and then the white bottoms, which again look pretty good. And then he's got a cape on the back, again made with that kind of rubber material. Looks like it's just hanging off the shirt, which again I think is in keeping with how he looks in the comic. The S symbol on the cape is just painted, but again pretty solid job with the paint applications there. And you even have detailing on the underneath the cape with the pockets on the pants and everything. So overall, even though I'm not as fond of this look for Superboy, I think they've done a good job with it in capturing how he looks in the comics. So for height, Superboy stands just about 5 inches, maybe a hair under 5 inches, and then Robin stands at about 4.5 inches tall. So Superboy is the taller of the two, which I do believe is comic book accurate. And just to give you some comparisons, here's the DC Icons Rebirth Superman figure and Rebirth Batman figures. These are the versions from the box set. Here's a comparison with the Mattel Multiverse 6-inch Rebirth Batman figure. Here's a comparison with the Icons Batgirl figure. Here's a comparison with the 6-inch Multiverse Damian Robin and the DC Collectibles 7-inch scale Damian Robin that was done for the animated movie line. And then finally for Superboy, here's a couple other 7-inch scale DC Collectible versions, the original version of Superboy and then the New 52 version. And this original version remains my favorite as far as costumes go for Superboy. So articulation is the same between the two figures. You can turn the head to the left and to the right. You've got some back and forth movement with the head, but not a whole lot. You can also pivot the head to the left and the right as well. Arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joint there at the shoulder, so you can get the arm out good. Superboy has good rotation there at the shoulder. However, Robin, because his cape goes over his shoulders, you can't really rotate his arms all the way around. You do have a bicep swivel, you have a double hinged elbow, so good bending there at the elbow. You have rotation at the wrist and hinges on the hands, so good up and down movement with the hands. You've got a midsection joint, so you've got rotation there at the midsection. You can kind of pivot to the left and the right there. You really can't crunch at the midsection, but you do have an ab crunch type joint, so you can crunch down about that much and then can look back about that much. Does not have a waist swivel. Legs are attached with ball joints, and you can pull the legs out from the socket to get some more movement. So you can get the leg forward good, and you can do the leg back about that much. Now they do not have a traditional thigh swivel, but you do have rotation up high there with those ball joints. You have a double hinge knee, so good bending at the knee. And then with the feet you have hinges, so you have up and down movement, and they do have ankle pivot. And then, as I mentioned before, they only have one peg hole on the bottom of their feet, and it's on the right side. Okay, so that's my review. So honestly, I was a little hesitant about buying these figures, mainly because the line does seem to be coming to an end, and there didn't seem to be much point in buying figures for a line that is basically ending. However, I did decide to go on and get these. I like the look of them, and I've got to say that overall these are pretty nice figures. Like I said before, this is probably one of the nicest Damian Wayne Robin figures that we've gotten in this scale. And even though I'm not as fond of the Superboy figure because I don't really like the look of Superboy, I think overall it is a solid figure. So if you like these characters, even though the line is ending, you'll probably still want to check these out. These figures are at comic and specialty shops now. We'll have a full image gallery up at toynewseye.com. There will be a link in the video description below. Also, if you're liking some of the backdrops that are featured in this video, be sure to check out extreme-sets.com. They're the ones that make those, and if you're into toy photography and the like, I think you should definitely check them out. They've got a lot of different kind of backdrops and pop-ups and things like that that you can use with your figures. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.